Hello everybody, my name is Hammock. Today I'm going to do another engineer main video, and those are the videos where, as a person who plays a lot of engineer in Team Fortress 2, or at least played a lot of it, I play other games and then find out, oh, this character actually feels quite similar. And I'm playing this game, which, if you've been playing TF2, you probably recognize this game. It's Dota, because it's on Steam as well. And there are some characters that are inherently quite close to Engineer. There's Techies, who's a weird dude. There's Tinker, who's got all manner of mechanisms and explosions and stuff like that. I'll talk to that apparently. But there's another character in particular that I think is very close to Engineer and I find very interesting, and that is Chen. Now, Chen has a very high skill ceiling. It's very difficult to play, and not only is he very difficult to play, but he's also very difficult to see. As you can see here, he hasn't fully loaded. He's actually very good at stealth, and the particular build that I'm doing is also very stealthy. I think it's because I'm loading a demo in the background, so I'm just going to go over these builds. Actually, I can just go straight to the demo. So here's a game that I won because I don't want to show a game I lose, because that way you'll think I'm bad at the game, which I am. But I want to show why this build I'm going to do is a build that you should probably try as an engineer main. So let me just go over his abilities real quick. Q, you Q people, they get slowed, and other people who attack them get to attack them faster, which is good when you have a mass of like creeps, or a lot of people who like auto-attacking people, like a Legion Commander. You got Holy Persuasion, which lets you take control of creeps, and then you can sort of micro them around, which will be very useful if you play StarCraft or other games with micro. I have terrible micro, so don't worry if you're going into this thinking like, I'm not going to play Chen, this hero looks really hard. I know, but I like playing heroes that are like really difficult, because there's like an opportunity for me to get a lot of improvement there. I really don't like playing heroes like Shadow Shaman or Lion, who feel pretty simple. I like to go into a game knowing that after I come out of it, I kind of got a little bit better playing it. So you can control units, and it can be complicated. There are a lot of units that have lots of different mechanics. Let me just have this play in the background. Here we're just doing a little like fight in the early game. I'm making use of my auto attacks and trying to be in aura for my divine favor, which has like a nice healing buff. And Legion Commander is very smart, grabs the bounty and immediately cues their movements. They can go over and get the next bounty, which is sick play. Pro gamer right there. I don't know any of these people. I went to a random game and we kind of hit it off pretty well. So this was a nice player. So Holy Persuasion, you can take control of creeps. The creeps have little effects of themselves. There's these like red angry bear people that like if you control, it increases people's attack speed by a bit. There's like the alpha wolves, which are pretty cool because they increase people's attack speed, and I think they're damaged by a little bit. There's a rat holding like a little jug, like a little juice box, and then if you have people nearby in the aura, they move faster. So I like to just like get all these buffs and then like tether them nearby to like cores, so they get like extra buffs, which is quite nice. So what you're noticing here is that I'm doing quite an insane strat here, which is basically just being AFK, because Chen has got insane regen because of this ability, his E ability. It's got an active where you can teleport people to you, but we're not really going to use that too much because that requires coordination, which we don't have. But it has another effect, which lets you have this heal increase 6% and regen 2 per second, which in the early game is pretty fucking huge. Like, considering tangos, when you use those to, like, eat trees, you only get about, oh fuck, I'm gonna have to do math now. You only get a little bit of health, but this gives you a lot of health, and it's free. I'm not gonna do math. I can't even spell maths. It's got an F in it, right? Yeah, here I'm just side pulling camps while being in lane, so I can get experience and be in lane to give my Legion extra heals. They just took a tango. Now that heal from that tango is going to have even more regen. I also have a headdress now because it's not that good of a pickup, but it's pretty value. Get some extra heals, gives me like +2 attributes and grants +2 health regen to people in an aura. This is why I like the character, by the way. There's so much extra like numbers and stuff. After playing so much D&D, getting like +1 to anything seems like such a massive fucking like cool thing that like now I'm playing this character and I'm just getting all these numbers. Anyway, yeah, he gives like an aura around. It's a pretty big aura. Like, look at that shit. Anyone in that aura is getting extra heals, which gives you extra value. So it gives me a lot of extra value by just being in lane, being like a Papega, just sitting here. And then my ultimate is like a global heal. Think like Soraka, League of Legends kind of thing. Just everyone gets a little bit of healing, which is quite nice. You also get like extra ancients with your scepter, but I never get Agnum Scepter. I never get enough money. I'm pretty much playing hard 6, buying wards and shit. So now I've gone through the ability, you should probably ask, why the fuck is this like engineer from TF2? Well, you see, if I can take control of a creep, for example, a range creep like this guy, think of it like a sentry, because like it's a range creep, so I can like shoot people, right? And you can use it to like get vision off the map and stuff. Then you've got my Divine Favor, which has an aura of healing, like a dispenser, and if you click on an ally and they don't take damage for a certain amount of time so it doesn't break, you can teleport people to you. You are the engineer, you've got all these buildings on it, it's really cool. He's also very like tricky and has a bit of like probably one of the highest skill ceilings. I wouldn't know what the highest skill ceiling heroes in the game are because I play only a few characters so far. I've been playing a lot of Chen, Oracle, Disruptor, Ogre Magi, those kind of people. Also some keeps are like, I jump between, but like at the moment Chen and Oracle are probably my favorite just because they're quite they've got more of like a skill floor to them, so it feels satisfying to just like play a game, and even if I lose I feel like I did a little bit better because I clicked the buttons in the right orders, you know? So yeah, this early game playstyle is pretty much just being in lane, giving my core a lot of extra healing, obviously not committing to that fight like that because that would require paying attention instead of just clicking on creeps. And while I'm in this lane, I'm also side pulling the lane when it gets when the wave gets too far in, using that range creep. It's like I have to I got on player perspective anyway. So I'm just trying to like stack all of the camps at least, so that if people from what I've noticed in pubs, like to just farm and not actually like push the game, at least I'm getting extra value for our cause there, getting some more farm there. It's coming up to 5 minutes, so I want to position myself for the bounties while also trying to stack camps. And yeah, like the downside of this early game strat is obviously you're being in the lane a little bit more than another support. So you're probably leeching a lot more XP from Legion. So another support in this instance, or a better player in this instance, would probably have a faster level 6 Legion, which is probably a better idea since you get more opportunities to go in and ult people and stack more damage. But I feel like this worked out either way because it gave them extra regen, and basically anyone can kind of lane with Chen there, just for that extra regen. So I took that DD. I kind of wanted to kill it, but there's no one nearby, and there was no one on our team that could have taken it, and I was afraid of someone else coming in and taking it. So I took it just in case, and I want to kind of get some value from this by grabbing a creep and then seeing if we can find someone to beat up, and hopefully give Legion a stack on their ultimate. Oh, hello. This person wants to jump in a 2v1, especially a Chen over DD. What a wise decision there, friend. Nice. Yay. That was interesting. So yeah, pretty much my build is getting a bunch of these auras and stuff. Getting a Blightstone early on, so whenever I auto-attack people, they die quicker, because I lose armor, and armor is very, very important. Reduces the amount of damage people take. And some people start with very little armor, so if someone's got like lower than 2 base armor, then you're hitting them for like full damage. Oh, wait, it's that one, yeah. Getting all these buffs. Ring of Basilius, probably one of my favorite items. It's such a good value item. Gives mana like in the radius, gives extra damage to yourself, and yeah, like you can build it into what's it called, Vladimir's Offering, and it gives like the same effect, but also like aura of like healing and lifesteal, which is quite nice if you've got like a big army of enemies. So now I'm just sending my enemies to go punch down towers. This is a turbo game, by the way. I should have probably stated that at the start. But I usually tend to play turbo games when I'm playing Chen just because I'm very bad at him and I'm very bad at the late game because it like just microing all the units. And if I am going to lose a game, might as well lose it quickly, I guess. But either way, this is a good time to practice. I heard all the noise and the clattering, so there was a PA over here. So I'm just going to beat him up, try and get a stun with my centaur. There we go. And now they're dead. And now there's a bunch of enemies here. Hopefully Legion doesn't die here. This is where Legion does something really smart, where they just TP once a lion used all their CC. But I didn't know they were going to do that, so I end up dying in the process. But I don't really mind. Legion got out with like a bunch of gold value from that. Look, we're like 8k up against them. So like, I'm fine with that. But yeah. Now, time to point out the thing about this build that makes it a Hammock build, that makes it a really interesting gimmick build, and that's getting the Shadow Amulet. Now, the Shadow Amulet is usually built into Shadow Blade or Glimmer Cape, which allows you to go invisible. Shadow Blade lets you go invisible, and then when you come out of it, you can hit someone and do extra damage. Glimmer Cape lets you go invisible, get extra magic resistance, and generally a pretty good support item to like click on a core so that they're invisible for a short duration, so they're less likely to take damage. But something I thought was quite underrated about Shadow Amulet is that it lets you go invisible, but you stay invisible until you like move or like do an action. So you can be a cloak and dagger spy. Now this is interesting because Chen's got all these auras. He's got this Divine Favor aura. He can use headdress and he can get Vlads and he can get mechanism, get all these aura buffs. And basically he provides value in a fight as long as he's there. So my strat is basically, because I know my micro is going to be terrible, I go into a fight, I try and penitence somebody, try and use my units to do stuff, and then just sit in the fight and then go invisible. And then as long as I'm there, I'm getting buffs. Oh no. See, I was trying to do like a sneaky thing with my burb and then send like a tornado mid, but they saw it and killed it. Rip. Yeah, that's my silly strat. And it usually takes quite a while to set up because I usually end up spending most of my money on wards and smokes and dust and support items. So like here there's a team fight going on and I should probably be there, but I was wondering too much about trying to place some wards, and I found another bird to join my army, join my church. So this is the part of the video where I've kind of described pretty much everything about the build, and now we just need to wait until there's a cool fight going on. So now I'm just sitting here waiting for stuff to happen. Thankfully we've got a Mars and a Legion, so action is going to come up on itself. So here I'm just trying to play with the team, not try and get, try not to be too close. Sorry, it's hard to speak. But provide my auras, which are pretty big, from these like healing auras, and then like just pressure the tower. Also trying to hold off on my ultimate in case someone's about to die. Oh, it looks like Jakira is getting low. I don't think I actually noticed it just yet. Yeah, I did my late ult there. That was sad. I think I was too busy trying to click on the tower and not have my bird die, and I didn't notice Jakira. Is that Jakira? I think it's Jakira. But yeah, now it's like ready to disengage. I'm just gonna hide in the trees and Shadow Amulet. They have no idea I'm here. Protect the burb. And now my team is rotating to bot lane. Oh shit, there's a PA. Go back in the trees. No one saw me. This is kind of spooky. This is the horror game part where I have very little in the way of actual fighting. My fighting all comes from taking creeps and using them. And since I have terrible micro macro ability, I'm pretty much just, okay, I'm gonna penitence, hopefully go invisible, and then let my creeps and my teammates fight. There we go. Expertly baited. That was pure skill. I hear a Legion. Nice. Now let me just start to speed this up, because this is where it's just going to be like a bunch of fighting and running around and stuff. I should probably be stacking camps a little bit more often now, but currently my control group, my use of control groups is pretty non-existent. I'm pretty much just using a button that's control all the units including me, and the control all units excluded me, so I can just use that to like micro. So I'm pretty much only microing like myself or other people. So I probably need to get some more control groups specifically so that I have like people who can fight and then people who can like run around and stack or like provide buffs. But basically this game's over. Our Legion is a Chad and just crushed everybody, and I did my part, but really, if this game would have gone later, I'd have probably died. But anyway, the main point of this is to show that Chen is a really fucking cool hero. I really like them. They've got lots of interesting interactions and value. And if you're an engineer main like me, and one of the lures of playing engineer is just this sort of this pull of like efficiency and optimization, the fact that like you can play the game, you can be absolutely terrible, but while the game's going on, you can make very, very slight improvements to your gameplay all the time. Like with Engineer, you want to be like planning out where you're going to build, how you can get your build order down, how you can like pay attention to like, what if I put it here, and then how would that affect the game, like in terms of buildings and stuff. And I feel like I'm getting a lot of that satisfaction from playing support in Dota with like warding and pulling and stacking and trying to get the right flow of the game so that like my character never feels like they're being useless. And I am probably feeling quite useless a lot of time playing Chen just because they're pretty difficult, but I'm getting a lot of satisfaction from it. And if you have any kind of passing interest in MOBAs and you haven't fully committed your wallet to like League of Legends, for example, I highly recommend giving Dota a try and playing Chen because they're very fun. But I will preface, you will probably feed 99% of your games, but if you like just playing the game and learning, then the feeding will probably be fun anyway. I probably recommend muting chat. I did that for like the first couple months, and after that I kind of just turned off Google Translate and it was fine. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I don't know when I'm going to make another one because I've had little time to play TF2 recently, so I'm just trying some other games. I've actually been playing some games like Pillars of Eternity and Baldur's Gate. They're actually pretty fun if you can get around the math, but maybe I'll look into those in the future. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a lovely day. Sorry, my brain has stopped working. I'll see ya. Bye.